The power of music has the ability to move energy, to transform and transcend. And yeah, I see some tears after that song, and I've got my own. That song I first heard several years ago, and that song was the song that that Ed and I did our mother-son dance to at our wedding. I don't know what else you would call it to, but it's like the first dance, with the moms. And so that was, so it was especially poignant to hear that again. And I asked Yvette, and I asked her to sing that song this morning, in part because today is Veterans Day. And so if you are a veteran, if you have served our country in the armed forces or the reserves, I invite you to please stand so that we can honor you at this moment. Thank you for your service. And if you are a first responder, I invite you, a police officer, a firefighter, or any other type of first responder, I invite you also to please stand at this moment so that we may recognize you as well if you're in the room. All right. And we're all responders. Oh, they're out responding. Yes. And what I know is that as practitioners of this faith and philosophy, that we too are responders, always going first to knowing that spiritual truth. So we honor those beloveds who serve in the larger community in that way, keeping us safe. So thank you, and thank you to Josh and the rest of the Riverside Police Department. This week also marked the 8th anniversary of Officer Ryan Bonaminio's death. And so we dedicate this service in his memory, in his honor. That anniversary of his passing happened on the 7th, happened earlier this week, or in the middle of the week. So we also honor him. And sorry, Casey, it's just before 11, but if I wait till 11, then we're gonna stand here and stare at each other. So. But today, being November 11th, also marks the 100th anniversary of Armistice Day, the end of World War I. And so at 11:11:11, we are to chime 11 bells. But again, we could sit here and wait, or we can do this now and know that it's 11 o'clock somewhere. So. Because what we know is that there is no real time and space, that it's just a construct. So here we go, right? And hopefully we won't get ring back, but if we do, then it's just all the much more love, right? So. And so we just take a moment to remember all of the beloveds who have sacrificed. They're given their lives. In service to the high idea, the high ideal of freedom and justice for all. Some have given the ultimate sacrifice. Others sacrificed their lives, their families, their time in service. And I honor all the families in this time who have supported our veterans along the way. For truly, families of service members are also in service to this high, high ideal. And we remember those whose lives came to an abrupt end earlier this week in Thousand Oaks. We remember all of our beloveds who have been displaced by the fires burning in our state. We remember those who have lost their lives and their livelihood due to the fires as well. And so we just take a moment. Knowing that love lives here. And we send this love out forth from our heart space, out into the larger community, the communities impacted here in Southern California. We allow the love to flow over all those who serve, regardless of where they're serving in the world. Love is present right where they are. For the truth is, love is all that there is. And so we remember who and what we are. The power and the presence of love made manifest. It is what we've come here to be. It is what we've come here to do. To be the place where love shows up always and in all ways. And so it is. So let's shrug our shoulders really, really tight. Real tight. All the way up to your ears. Everybody shrug, 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 and drop. Again. Shrug, 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 and drop. One more time. Shrug, 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 and drop. What was that? Oh, wow? Ah. So what did we just do? What's that? My work here is done. Let's go across. Maybe they're not ready for us to come across and have food yet, so we'll give them a little bit more time, shall we? Yes, we just released tension. So our bodies, our muscles have to, when we contract like that, our muscles have to relax the same amount as what they contracted. So by making them tight, the way we just did, and then just releasing them and allowing them to drop, then actually elongates and stretches out our muscles. And so then we do it again, and then it elongates and stretch out our muscles. And we do it again, and it elongates and stretch out our muscles. The more we hold that tension and then we release it, it has to release by that same amount. And so I'm not going to put my fellow massage therapists out of business by sharing that with you, okay? I mean, you still need to go to get a massage at least once a month. Because, if you're not, it's like once a year, it's like, do you go to the gym once a year and go, oh, that was great, right? Same with massage. The more you're regulated, or the more you're consistent with it, the better the results are going to be. But at any rate, so what was happening there is we're holding the tension, we're intentionally going into the attention, we're walking into it, we're creating it, and then we're releasing it. We're creating it and we're releasing it. And what we're then doing is we're creating, something called circulation, right? It helps the blood begin to flow into those areas. Because when we get really tense and tight, we have a tendency to then become what's called ischemic, meaning the blood's not flowing, and then, those little knots that you have in your shoulders, that's really like there's a lack of blood flow that's happening that's then keeping you tight, and then all of the connective tissue wraps around it and forms it like a little saran wrap, and then it gets even tighter, and it gets even tighter, and then you're like, okay, Jeff, fix me, right? But with creating that circulation rather than the stagnation, because when we're in stagnation, then everything stops, the flow stops. And so it's about balance. It's tension and release, tension and release, tension and release. That there's a balance and there's a flow that then creates a circulation that creates the flow pattern. Now, if you did not have any tension whatsoever, y'all would be puddles on the floor. You wouldn't even be able to sit up straight in your chair. You would just be a great big blob on the floor, a great big blob on the floor. So when we think about tension, we have a tendency to think that tension is a bad thing. We have a tendency to think that, oh, that's negative. I don't want tension in my life. That's a negative thing. Santa Ana winds are blowing. But tension is absolutely necessary for us to even sit up straight, for us to stand and walk around, because really what tension means, or tension comes from the Latin meaning to stretch. And what it gives us an opportunity to do is that we've got opposing forces that are holding life together, that are holding things up and upright. So we've got this tension that's happening that allows us to function. We are in tension with gravity. That's how we're able to move. You wouldn't be able to lift your arm or dance or sing or do anything if you were not experiencing some form of tension. So tension isn't necessarily a bad thing. You're alive. That requires tension. It doesn't require necessarily emotional tension, but it requires tension. So when we begin to think of tension in this way, the way we begin to think of that then is that, then tension has the opportunity to stretch me. Tension has the opportunity to grow me. Tension provides me the opportunity to discover new ways of being, because it is an evolutionary process. The evolution of your soul, the evolution of the universe is a forward-moving process. It's always moving forward. So this too, whatever this is, has to be for me, and it has to be for my highest good. It has to be for that evolution of my soul, because otherwise it stops. And I stagnate, and then I get sick. My body gets sick, my mind gets sick. So the tension then is actually providing a growth opportunity. It is taking us up and helping us to live beyond the comfort zone. So when you hear the word tension, we were talking about it in the morning table this morning, it's like, I'm kind of uncomfortable with experiencing tension. I'm uncomfortable with the word tension. When I hear the word tension, I get tense. It's like yawning, right? Now everybody's going to yawn. that is, it feels, yep, there you go. But it doesn't have to be that way. We don't have to think about it in that way. We can think about it in a much more expansive way, because that's really what tension is there to do, what opposition is there to do. Opposition, op, and then poser, is to place against or to lean against, to put against. And then we have an opportunity, which is also an op, to start with an op, right? And that means move toward the port or toward the harbor, meaning moving toward something. So when we come up against something, then it's an opportunity to move toward something. So when we are experiencing tension or any kind of opposition, what this does is this provides us an opportunity to take stock of exactly where we are and exactly what we're doing and exactly how we're showing up, and perhaps begin to think about it in a new way. Instead of saying, oh no, poor me, say, oh wow, what's here for me? What is my opportunity? It's an opportunity to become curious. It's an opportunity to innovate, to be creative, if you will, rather than to shrink back from and stay away from and avoid. We talked about avoiding tension. We talked about stuffing tension. What else did we say? Tension. My morning table people. Stuffing. All right. We talked about stuffing it and avoiding it, numbing it, medicating it, right? Not feeling it, trying to avoid it however we can. No, I don't want to experience any tension. I don't want to experience that. Well, then what we're really doing is we're kind of stepping away from an opportunity from growth rather than leaning into it and stepping into it. We have a tendency to want to avoid. No, I want to be Zen, right? Rather than I want to engage. So we have the opportunity to lean into, to lean forward into, but to lean forward into from a principled place. And oftentimes there's an opportunity there in our communities, our New Thought communities, we have a tendency, we have a tendency to go to the, oh no, it's all good, it's all God, yay, right? Yay! I'm going to put the smile on and yay, right? And we have a tendency sometimes to go to those spiritual platitudes, there's nothing against me, it's all for me, yay, right? We have a tendency to want to go to those places. Now, those are all true, by the way, but we have a tendency to want to jump there first because we have a tendency to not want to look at it. So what are we going to do? We're going to medicate it, or we're going to meditate it. We're going to do something else to it to try and change, what that feeling is, rather than just simply allowing and feeling. So what if, when you're experiencing the tension, or you're experiencing whatever it is you're experiencing fear, or you're experiencing anger, or joy, or sadness, or what have you, what if, instead of the very first thing is trying to change it, what if you breathe it? What if you just breathe into it and just feel it? And feel it through to its completion. Just feel it through. A feeling only lasts 90 seconds. A feeling only lasts roughly 90 seconds. A mood, however, lasts a lot longer. Feelings not felt all the way through to completion become moods. Let me say that again. Because feelings not felt all the way through to completion become moods. And what is it, my people, what is it that the universe really is responding to? Is it responding to your individual thought? Or is it responding to your mood? It's responding to your mood, right? It's responding to your feelings. Because you can say one thing and mean something altogether different. You can say something and have it altogether feeling something altogether different, right? Words don't always match the feeling, but what the universe responds to is the feeling. What the feeling is also the intent behind it, right? And what we're talking about this month is living an intentional life. So the universe is responding to that. So that's where we have the opportunity to stop and take a look and assess. And if we just simply allow ourselves to cry it out, eventually you're going to stop. It might be ugly and snotty and, you might vomit, I don't know. But eventually it's going to stop. But if we try to stop it and stuff it and try to change it and try to do something about it before that, we're creating more tension that is not healthy, that is not necessary, rather than simply being present with what is. If you're in a forest, the only way out is how? Through, right? You're in a forest, and the only way you're going to get out of the forest is to go through the forest, right? Same thing goes true with the psalm. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. It doesn't say, yea, though I go into the valley, build a house and homestead. It says, yea, though I walk through the valley, right? Not, go sit there and like, hey, Mike, Jeannie, come on, be my neighbor. Yvette, come on, be my other neighbor, right? It doesn't say that. It says walk through the valley. So many people just want to set up camp, Sorry. Just thinking. Yeah. Later at fellowship. Okay, so it blows my mind, But what we're called to do is we're called to walk through. We're called to be present with what is. It's not denying what's going on. We don't go to that place of denial where we're just saying, no, this is not what's going on. This is not the truth. This is not it. And yes, it's not the truth with a capital T, but is it a lived reality or a lived experience? Yes. So it's not denying the lived experience. It's not denying the lived reality when we say going to truth, and that the truth with a capital T is the truth that will set us free. What we have the opportunity to do is we have the opportunity to simply be present with what is, and then keep our mind, keep our idea, keep our intention focused on that which we wish to desire, that which we wish to experience. Keep our mind focused on the good, keep bringing ourselves back to the paper, keep bringing ourselves back to reframing how this too is for me. Keep looking for the good, keep looking for that, and bringing ourselves back to that, and bringing ourselves back to that, and bringing ourselves back to that. That then creates the practice, that then creates the pattern of our thought, that then creates the propensity of our thought, and it also helps to create the feeling tone of our thought. But what it is keeping our eyes stayed there, our focus stayed there, allowing what is to just be. And then the vision that you're holding, the intention that you're holding, that which you're seeing, that which you're choosing to experience, by its very necessity, by focusing on that and by focusing your intention and attention on it, begins to draw you toward it. And you begin to draw it toward you. Because we're focused there. We're aligning ourselves with that which we wish to experience, and anything unlike it simply begins to fall away. It doesn't mean that we turn a blind eye. It means we go ahead and we acknowledge that which we're experiencing, but we keep our focus here on what is it that we are for rather than what is it that we are against. That which we resist persists. Again, that which we resist persists. So the more I am trying to change this over here and micromanage this and change here, the more I'm focused on that, I'm resisting what simply is. The more I'm focused there, the more it's just going to continue to be. Rather than breathing into it and allowing it and focusing on that which it is I wish to experience. Ernest Holmes says, show me one person who is for something and against nothing, and I will show you another master. We are called to be for something. So what is it that you are for this day? What are you standing for? It's really easy to tell me what you're against. In this climate that we are living in our country, it's very easy to hear what people are against. What are you for? What are you taking a stand for? And that taking that stand for something, aligning with the for, creates the necessary tension to then call us forward. Creates the necessary tension, and it's also the necessary intention to call it forward. What are you for? Begin speaking to that. Begin listening for that when somebody is speaking. What are you for? It's a simple question. What are you for? Oh, that person. Okay. But what are you standing for? What is it that you wish to see in the world? And then be part of the creation of that which you are for. That's what we are called to do when we are living in tension and living intentionally. We are called to set the intention to see whatever it is that we are experiencing as an opportunity for growth, as an opportunity for our greater evolution, not only of our own soul, but of mankind. It's an opportunity when we are living in tension to set the intention to listen, to set the intention to be the presence of love, to set the intention to be for something and against nothing, to set the intention to live intentionally. How many of you saw yellow trucks this week? Yep, lots of them, yeah, right? Penske's everywhere now. So for those of you who weren't here last week, I invited you to look for yellow trucks, to set the intention of seeing yellow trucks and see how many yellow trucks you see this week. And so you can continue that homework. And the other homework you can continue too is setting your intention before you go to bed at night of how you wish your day to go tomorrow. And then setting your intention again in the morning, because it might have shifted overnight, setting your intention in the morning, you never know, you could have had that fabulous dream. But setting the intention in the morning to start your day, right? Begin to live intentionally. So it's setting the intention to live intentionally. And I can't say it enough. Practice, 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 practice. You've got spiritual tools, you've got your meditation. Turn within first. The answer you seek is within. There is a divine wisdom within you that is inherent within you. You just got to be quiet enough to listen for it. Turn within and allow that wisdom to speak forth, allow that wisdom to guide and direct in every day, in every way. And so breathing in and out. Let's say our focus statement together. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Do you think that was acceptable? No. Let's try that for real now this time, okay? All right. Here we go. It's right there too. Ready? Go. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. And so it is, yes. All right, so let's have our practitioners please stand and surround the sanctuary. Our core council, I invite you to stand and surround the sanctuary as well as we move into a moment of affirmative prayer. And so how good it is to know that there's only one power, one presence, one life, one love, one infinite eternal beingness, this one I choose in this moment to call God, but it is the universe, it is what goes by many names. It really doesn't matter what name you call it, because it is the isness and the allness and the fullness that is all that there is. I know that it is love, I know that it is joy, I know that it is bliss, I know that it is the peace that passes all understanding. I know that it is the divine wisdom that guides, and it is the first cause that brought forth all of creation as the manifest body of itself. So I recognize that all of creation itself is the divine made manifest, is this one life, this one love made manifest, that everything we see, hear, feel, touch, and that which is beyond our five senses, the entirety of the universe is the divine made manifest. And so that I know that each one is the divine. Each one is an impartation and emanation of this divine love that so loved, that was so curious, that it brought forth all of life, all of expression. And so I know that I am one with that one. I know that the who of who I am is the divine made manifest. I know that my life is the life of the divine, that my life is the life of love, of peace, of joy, of abundance, of wisdom. I know that I am one with it and I am never separate from it. I am inseparable from it because there truly is only one. I am but a wave in the cosmic ocean, an individualization of the ocean itself, dancing and playing and caressing the shore. This is the who of who I am, always divine, never separate from the ocean, always one with it. So always one with this cosmic ocean, never separate from it, is the who of who I am. And as I know this is true of me, I know that this is true of all of life, of all of creation, of everyone seated in this room, standing in this room, of everyone who ever hears this word, and everyone beyond this room. For truly there is only this one life. And so I speak my word here and now, recognizing that tension is a part of the divine order. It is part of the divine harmony, that there is a divine balance that is always occurring, always flowing, always ebbing and flowing, creating this circulation. That this tension itself is a growth opportunity. It is the way I expand my consciousness. It is the way I expand my life. In fact, it is the way that entire universe expands in an evolutionary way. It is a yin and a yang, a pull back and forth that creates the structure and the framework upon which consciousness makes itself known. And so I embrace the tension in my life. I embrace it and I allow it to be there. I approach it with curiosity. I approach it with wonder and awe at the amazement of the divine working and exploring and expressing its life as my life now. And so I know that each thing is for me and that nothing is against me. For truly there is only one power, and if there is only one power, there is nothing that can stand against that one power. So there truly is no real opposition. There simply is the isness. Oh, and I give thanks for this realization. I give thanks for the peace and the poise that lives itself as me, that lives itself as this community, and as all of the beloveds who make up this beloved community. Knowing it is the truth of our being, individually, collectively, knowing that it is simply the truth of all. And I give great thanks for all those who have been in service to humanity, service to the high ideal of freedom and justice, in service to this power and presence that we call love. Knowing it is the ultimate goal is complete emancipation from all discord, that freedom is the ultimate, and it is back of all things. I simply give thanks for it. I release this word into the law, knowing that it is done, knowing that it is complete, knowing that we are already living the demonstration of it right here and right now. I let it be, and so it is. We welcome back Yvette.